I read this today in the Times, and I couldn't, this makes no sense to me. The other night, Bernie Sanders, he was on at that debate in Flint, Michigan on Sunday, the one hosted by CNN. Don Lemon asked both Mrs. Clinton and Mr. Sanders to describe their, quote, racial blind spots. The hell kind of a question is that, Don? But anyway, Bernie Sanders said this, quote, when you're white, you don't know what it's like to be living in a ghetto. You don't know what it's like to be poor. You don't know what it's like to be hassled when you walk down the street or you get dragged out of a car. End quote. Now, Clinton, trying to take advantage of everything she can to overcome Sanders, released statements from the mothers of Trayvon Martin and Jordan Davis yesterday criticizing Sanders for saying white people, quote, don't know what it's like to be living in a ghetto, end quote. What the fuck? Now, the complaint and the immediate online backlash from this horrible slop called social media came from people who pointed out that many whites also live in dilapidated housing and in low-income neighborhoods, but that was not the goddamn question. The question came from Don Lemon, a black man who asked Sanders and Clinton about their racial blind spots. That was the question. And Sanders tried to answer it, and he used the term, oh, fuck me running. He used the term ghetto. And for that, Hillary Clinton jumps on it and asks people like Trayvon Martin's mother and Jordan Davis's mother to issue a complaint. Well, white people live in ghettos too. No shit. But that wasn't the question. See what they're doing to Sanders? What Clinton's doing to Sanders. Instead of letting that go, Clinton grabs it. Oh, yeah, here, I got something to beat his ass with. When you're white, you don't know what it's like living in a ghetto. What should he have said? Living in a black ghetto? Would that have been better, Hillary? You don't know what it's like to be poor. Now, a lot of whites are poor, but that's not what Sanders was asked. You don't know what it's like to be hassled when you walk down the street or you get dragged out of a car, or you might add dragged behind a car. Sanders clarified his comments yesterday to several reporters in Detroit. Sanders said, quote, what I meant to say is when you talk about ghettos traditionally in this country, what you're talking about is African American communities. Absolutely. When's the last time you heard of a white ghetto? That's a phrase that white people assigned to the black community, the poor black communities. Blacks didn't ask for it. The whites came up with, oh man, you live in a ghetto. The statement that Hillary had her operatives write up and then was, I don't know if she had to write them up or not, but the statements were released from Sabrina Fulton, the mother of Trayvon Martin, and Lucia McBath, the mother of Jordan Davis, two black teenagers killed in separate shootings in Florida that became racial flashpoints. And the statement said, quote, Senator Sanders is wrong to suggest that the concept of the ghetto is inextricably connected to black America. He didn't say that. The statement went on, we need a president who understands black families don't all live in ghettos. He didn't say they did. He didn't even allude to it. He was asked about his personal racial blind spot. And bless his soul for having the balls to answer the goddamn question. Hillary Clinton wouldn't have, or she would have come up with some boilerplate bullshit. And so would the Republicans. Bernie Sanders answered the question. The statement said, we need a president who understands black families don't all live in ghettos and who has a plan to end the racial violence that too often plagues families like mine. You know, I can feel empathy, not empathy, I can feel sympathy for the mothers and fathers of all African American teenagers who have been gunned down in this country. I can. But the racial violence that this statement says, she wants a president who has a plan to end the racial violence that too often plagues families like mine. Okay, that's a good starting point. Why not get in the Wayback Machine just a little bit and go back to when Hillary Clinton said, we have to bring these people to heel. These people being black teenagers, as if they were animals. Heal! Why not go back, and it was right in that milieu when her husband and she, co-president, remember, were working on increasing the prison population in this country by hundreds of thousands. By tossing people off desperately needed welfare, aid to families with dependent children. Remember that? Fucking gone. AFDC? Why is it gone? Well, we're going to end poverty as we know it. How are you going to do that? We're just going to throw people off the welfare rolls. And the new plan is called temporary assistance to needy families, and you got 5 years total, and then you're off. You can take a year now, 2 years, 5 years from now, and then you're out of here. What happens if I don't have a job then? What happens if I have a sick kid? What happens if I'm on my own? What happens if I get sick? What happens? Tough shit. The law is the law. That's the Clintons. Bernie Sanders tries to answer a question. What is your racial blind spot? And then the shit just erupts thanks to Hillary Clinton.